The NFL playoffs are here. We lay out our best prop bets for the action and react to Black Monday on tonight's program. Buckle up. It's the IBT podcast coming right at you.
Cause I've been in tune, out of touch, coming off the bench, trying to shake the funk, check a stat line, see who's up, that over under hit too clutch.
And I'm trying to avoid getting carried away with the jet sweep, sleeping on a trick play, predicting all of my moves like they seen every play. And so I'm running it back, head down, get out of my way. And it's for the law with only one thing to do. I guess I'll say a prayer and put it all on the line for you. What they don't know, something they haven't seen. I find a gap off the screen and hit them right in between. Yeah, I got it, and I got it.
Just one thing to say, yeah, what they don't know, something they haven't seen. I'm off that mean Joe Green, it got me fading between. Yeah, I got it, and I got it. The In Between Fantasy Football Podcast.
All right. It is Tuesday, January 9th, 2024, and the Rat Pack is back with you as the NFL playoffs approach, and good vibes and hope remains for 14 different NFL teams. My name is Seth Woolcock, and I'm from the great Keystone State where two teams are ready to make a run, and I am fired up for it. I'm also joined by a man who witnessed the first Houston Texans NFL divisional title for them since 2019. He's Summertime Eric. He's Big Tex. He's raised the Romoff. Eric Romoff. What's up, Eric?
Man, feeling good heading into the playoffs. I just realized that we got a clean sweep of playoff teams across the board here on the show tonight. Vibes are high.
Yeah, it was not looking pretty. It was not looking pretty for a lot of our teams at different points in the season, but we are here. And we're also joined by a fantasy football icon, a man who isn't afraid to take some fucking swings with some takes. Trademark holder of Gooch Cheese and the heir of a piece of Packers ownership. He's Hoov. What's up, Hoov?
My mom's a Packer owner, but I'm inheritance, so I'm like a heritage owner.
There you go.
So that's what I like to say. I like to keep a close eye on the Packers. You know, I got stock. I got future stock. My mom's got stock. So if they do bad, that hurts me. You know, where they do good, hey, I could get a little invested. But bang, bang, Niner gang all day. All right, I wore the red. We're taking a bye week. We're chilling.
Yeah, chilling.
So I came on to talk some shit. Make some predictions, see who we're playing next week, do some scouting, how you do it. All right.
Let's go, man. Excited to have you both on the program tonight. On the show, we're going to talk coaches being fired around the league. It is Black Monday. We'll react from a fantasy football perspective. Then we have Between Bets, our favorite NFL playoff prop bets and futures. This is a really fun time for NFL betting. You can take that bankroll that you built up during the season, maybe some of your fantasy winnings, and apply them to some cool different markets that are now available across sports books. And we'll wrap it up with some good news, some new headlines around the sports, entertainment, and news world. And we'll poke a little fun at some stuff. We'll talk about some serious stuff in between. And it'll be a great show. We're also joined by audio producer Kyle Scott, who still recovering from blowing a 3-stroke lead on the last hole to me in disc golf just a couple of weeks ago. Kyle, how you feeling? Have you recovered yet?
No, my arm is still sore. No, I'm feeling fine about that. I've recovered enough mentally. It's more about getting back out there to do it again and blow more leads in the future is what I'm looking forward to.
There we go. How about your Green Bay Packers making the playoffs here? First time without Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. It looks like you have a guy and a playoff team. How are we feeling heading into Dallas on Sunday?
I could not be more confident that we are about to see the Packers in the Super Bowl, frankly.
Oh, all right. Tides have certainly turned. We appreciate you joining us, Kyle, and we appreciate the IBT family as well. I shared some highs and lows of the company this season on Twitter, so I want to share them here with you guys as well. We more than doubled our subscriber total on YouTube this past year. Website clicks went up 391%. And, we're still figuring this out. We're still trying different type of content, but thank you guys so much for all the support. It means the world to us. Looks like we got Albert already in the chat. Good evening, IBT. Good evening to you, Albert. Thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight, man. We appreciate you and everyone who likes our videos, subscribes to the channels, comments, hangs out with us throughout the program. You guys are the ones who are building this company up. So thank you guys so much for it. We really, really appreciate y'all. And let's go ahead. Let's jump into things. Let's get it started here with front and center.
Sometimes taking that first step out the door is the hardest thing to do. Give it a chance, you'll be begging for more. Save the spot just for you. We're all somewhere in between. How about you come to the place trying to have some fun? Ain't gotta worry about knowing not what it means. Come and give me another, cause the night is young. At least I so thought.
This just in. Breaking news. Front and center.
Damn, it was going down in the NFL today once again. Coaches are being fired left and right here. Let's start with some of the bigger headlines. Commanders fire head coach Ron Rivera, 26-40-1 as a head coach there. I'm not shocked. You guys know my feelings on Ron Rivera. I'll give it to you, Eric. 3 winning seasons in 13 years as a head coach. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I mean, that's not it, right? That's not going to help you keep your job. The funny thing is, like, I feel like Ron Rivera is like the perfect example of a guy that the game is just like completely passed him by. Like when he was at his peak coaching powers, he was thought to be an innovator and a risk taker, riverboat Ron. And now the league just like hold my beer. And now he looks vanilla as shit, right? He's just like not saying anything on the sidelines, not taking any risks, not going for it on fourth down. So yeah, I mean, look, there's a place and time for every style of coaching, and I think the Ron Rivera style is probably largely come to a close. In addition to his tenure with the Commanders.
Hoov, if you could talk to Ron Rivera right now and say 1 or 2 sentences to him, what would you say?
I'd ask him what college program he's going to take over. That's what I want to know because,
he's got.
I don't. No way. Like even
dude
Arthur
doesn't even know his own players. Come on,
Arthur Smith. He's probably gonna go coach in college because like his play style, like even though the NFL has passed him by, like there's some programs that his play style could still work. So I wouldn't be surprised you hear some names like Ron Rivera creep around.
Okay.
Who knows? Matt Rule made a second homecoming, and
Matt Rule, Greg Schiano, right? Like there are some like middling college programs that would love to get an NFL coach up in there.
That's right.
You're right. You're so fucking right too. Speaking of Arthur Smith, Falcons fired head coach Arthur Smith. Man, 3 straight 7-10 seasons for him. Mediocre division as of late, and just can't get the job done down the stretch. They might start out a little hot in contention, and just kind of close loss after close loss. And it felt like the players kind of just gave up on him this past week. Had some really nice offensive production, but the defense just in the end getting absolutely torn up here. Hoov, any farewell thoughts for our guy Artie Smith?
I'll bite my tongue on this one. I think I've said enough piece. I've cracked enough jokes, like a man got fired. We cracked enough jokes, ding dong, the witch is dead type energy. So really, I'm past it. I got ruined by a few shares of Bijan, but I kind of knew, even though I drafted him by 101, I knew what was gonna happen. Deep down. So I'm excited for all the Drake London shareholders and all the fucking Drake London or all the Kyle Pitts ones, and I think they're free. I'm trying to share a Jonnu Smith share for a 3rd round pick. No one's taking him. Why? Because he's done. If Arthur Smith's done, Jonnu Smith is done. He's FedEx shipped the fuck out of here.
Yeah, looks like we got Katie in the chat tonight. What's up, Katie? Good to see you. Hey. Looks like we got Dee saying hello, and saying, is that Eminem? Hello, Seth and Eric. Hoov, once again, Slim Shady cannot escape you, my friend.
I'm Slim Shady. Yes, I'm the real Shady. Are you at the Slim Shadys are just imitating? Whoo! I'm feeling it.
All right. So are we just like all happy about the Falcons? We don't know who the head coach is going to be, Eric. So there's not a ton of analysis here, but
I have a
overall,
feel.
like, are we thinking things get better for Bijan in year 2? They get better for Kyle Pitts, Drake London, super talented, top 10 drafted NFL players who just haven't come to fruition yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Like, I mean, there's almost nowhere to go but up, right? Like even if things remain the same in terms of quarterback and we see Desmond Ritter or replacement level NFL QB in 2024, like the play calling and the decision making has nothing but room for improvement. And then you add on top of that the fact that I think they will improve at quarterback. And yeah, the arrow is pointing up. And look, like for however much like we want to bemoan Arthur Smith as fantasy managers, this week, Black Monday in particular, is tough because it's people losing their jobs. But in the case of Arthur Smith in particular, like the king Nepo baby, like born on a silver platter, has everything handed down to him. Smell you later, loser. Don't touch this league ever again. Get out of here.
I think Arthur Smith would actually be a really good college coach. I think he seems like a really fun, like good vibing guy, but just not made out for
He
the
seems fun.
I mean,
You got to be the only person saying Arthur Smith seems fun.
I don't know. You're probably right. You're probably right. I guess there have been some funny moments, I guess, with him. Maybe I should say that. Like he's kind of become a meme. So maybe that's why I consider him fun. The Adam Gase of today. But in more exciting news, Titans, they fire head coach Mike Vrabel. 4 straight winning seasons, 2 playoff wins to begin his tenure there, but then 2 losing seasons in a row. This seems more like less about underperforming and more like a GM and a head coach that didn't align. We heard last week from Adam Schefter that it didn't seem like this was who Mike Vrabel wanted to hire, and it kind of just came all together here, Eric. And now we say goodbye to Mike Vrabel, at least in Tennessee, but he's going to be a hot name here.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised to see Vrabel get scooped up pretty quickly now that on the open market. As a Texans fan, I'm happy to see him go, right? Mike Vrabel has been one of these coaches for years that just manages to get the absolute most out of some pretty mediocre rosters, right? So happy that is out of the division, assuming that someone's going to scoop that up pretty quickly. And the thing to underscore is exactly what you said, right? Like there was pretty clear reporting that when Tennessee was looking for their new GM a few years ago, Vrabel was vocal and adamant about their other choice being the correct one, and they didn't make it. So I mean, once that happens, like unless he makes like a deep playoff run, there's no way that GM is just going to sit there and like let him skate by with a losing record,
Yeah, Hoov, where do you think Mike Vrabel ends up? Because right now there's Jim Harbaugh out there who's going to be a hot candidate. We'll talk about a potential other hot candidate, Bill Belichick as well. But Vrabel's right up there with him.
Yeah, I got some new articles coming out this next few weeks, and one of them is like the top coaching candidates and where they're going to end up. And like I was working on it today when this news broke, and it switched so much in my opinion. Like with one of my articles, I had the Titans making moves to win now. No, Mike Vrabel's gone. They're rebuilding. So scratch that. Yeah. So honestly, like one thing that I was really kicking around is that all I've heard is that Jared Mayo is the answer, is that he's going to be the guy that takes over for Bill if Bill leaves, and the linebacker coach for New England, they're just going to do it internally. And it's not that he's not deserving. It's that this draft or this head coaching pool this year is just so stacked. It's really
like
is.
All-Stars.
So So like, how can you? It's not settling because I really think Jared Mayo will be a head coach at some point. He'll get an opportunity. It's just like, this isn't the year to do it. Like there's just so many opportunities. If you really let Bill go and you want to make a deep dive, like you could do it, because there's a really good chance that they could end up there. I got the 3rd overall pick right now, I believe.
So you think Vrabel could be the answer if Bill walks in? Is that what you're kind of alluding to here?
I think that if he's available and that he's in the Ring of Honor for the Patriots, like how can they not go after Mike Vrabel now that he's available?
Eric, won like 3 fucking Super Bowls with them or something?
Yeah, catching all kinds of weird touchdowns where he had to report eligible, right? So I mean, there's speculation out there that maybe the situation was a little tenuous, but wasn't exactly at a breaking point.
Mhm.
And he kind of accelerated the process along to get out the door under the assumption that he had kind of a streamlined path into New England. So, I mean, we'll see how it all pans out, but it feels like a pretty like linear kind of thing, just a straight line from one sideline to the next.
It's an
And-
absolute. Go ahead, Hoov.
One thing to add is that like Mike Vrabel's a top 10 coach unanimously.
Yeah.
So like the fact that he's a free agent right now, he's not gonna have this isn't gonna happen to him many times in his career. Kind of like an Andy Reid when he was fired from the Eagles. Like he's gonna go to a place, he's gonna be there for a long time. So I think that the fact that Robert Kraft, like he's been stuck with Bill for so long, or he's had Bill, not stuck with him, but had him in a GM role and a head coaching role. If he just brings Mike Vrabel in, or even I heard today, what if Bill doesn't even leave? What if he just like continues on being GM and he brings Mike Vrabel in? Like, I think it's unrealistic, but it's I can still see Mike Vrabel coming in and then them bringing in like an assistant. Like, there's always every front office in the NFL looks for front office people from New England, San Francisco. Those are the top two that everyone seeks after. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just like gave assistant general manager a promotion and brought in Mike Vrabel instead of Jared Mayo.
I will say the saddest thing about this departure from Tennessee, in my opinion, is we don't get any more relationship between Vrabel and that reporter Gentry a couple weeks ago that absolutely was taking some fucking firepower from Mike V. So shout out Mike V, shout out Gentry, we miss you. We got Dee Dee in the chat saying she loves Andy Reid. We got Tyler hanging out with us. What's up, Tyler? Good to see you, man. We got Connor in the chat saying Bryson de Hoovbo. Yeah, you kind of do give a little Bryson DeChambeau vibe for sure.
Better.
Some minor news we can just quickly touch on. Jaguars fired defensive coordinator Mike Caldwell and staff. No surprise, pretty middle of the road defense, despite having some talent there that just really hasn't been developed so far. Giants and DC Wink Martindale also parting ways. And this has kind of been a bottom of the barrel defense this year, but they've really held serve at times, despite the poor offense kind of putting them in bad situations. So I think Wink will get another DC job probably as soon as this year. Don't count Wink out quite yet. Panthers fired GM Scott Fitterer. He's going to kind of just join the rest of the Carolina Panthers that kind of went down in smoke here. And the remaining coaching questions here are Bill Belichick. Conflicting reports everywhere. We have no idea what to believe. Some are saying it's a Hail Mary. He gets back in with the Patriots. Some say he's not going to leave. Jay Glazer then is reporting, and keep in mind, Jay Glazer, fucking dialed in guy here, very close with Mike Tomlin.
Such tight reporting.
Yeah, and he's reporting that Tomlin might step away, take a break after this season. So that was kind of a bombshell for Steelers fans because we've gone on this fucking wave where fire Tomlin, keep Tomlin, and now it's like a keep Tomlin situation. We're hearing this a little wild there. And the Jim Harbaugh wins the Natty last night. Just a really dominant performance from that Michigan team. And he hired Don Yee last week. So could he take a stab at the NFL? Eric, with all this being said, what is the most intriguing of these questions, and how do you think it all turns out?
Man, it's kind of a cop-out, but I feel like these are all pretty equally intriguing, right? Like, Bill Belichick, one of the greatest coaches of all time, certainly the greatest coach of the recent generation. I was wincing earlier when Hoov suggested that there's a chance that Belichick might stay in the front office and bring Vrabel in the coach, because I think that should be the opposite thing, right? Like if I was a Patriots fan, I would want Belichick on the sideline and making zero personnel decisions, because that's really where he's pissed down his leg, right? So, where he ends up, if he's available, like that totally changes the entire market of the head coaching cycle this offseason. Tomlin, Glazer's reporting is always super tight. Like, he gets everything right. He keeps his sources close to the vest. Like he does everything that you're looking for from a journalistic standpoint. I kind of feel like Tomlin is probably just trying to trying to step back a little bit, maybe get a little leverage on the front office, right? Like you
Ooh.
Steelers fans, you got it good with Mike Tomlin. And like the fact that there are calls for his jobs like every season and a half or
I
so.
won a playoff game since 2017. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, yeah, but he's never had a losing season, right? Like,
yeah,
like he's
solid.
a fantastic coach. It is.
He is.
You look across the landscape of the NFL. How many organizations are burning through coaches every 2, 3, 5 years, and you've got that continuity and that continuity of excellence. And then, I mean, Harbough for me, this one feels kind of different because him going out and testing the NFL coaching waters as a means to get leverage and a little pay increase at Michigan has kind of become tradition for him. But this year in particular, I mean, he's got the notch in his belt with the Natty, and also we don't really know how this is all going to play out with the sign stealing scandal. So it would kind of make sense, like get all the glory, absolutely build up and inflate your market as a potential head coaching candidate by winning the national title, and then get out of Dodge before you have to deal with any of the repercussions.
He's innocent. He said it last night. He's innocent. You don't believe him?
I mean,
I believe the football gods. I believe the football gods. They would have fucked him over if not. Hoov, I know you have a lot to say on this because Jim Harbaugh, you have a whole article about where you think he's going to land. Quickly, just give us your thoughts on anything else you haven't touched on in that article. Mike Tomlin, do you think he's actually stepping away here?
I can agree to what Eric is saying, is that when you got a good thing like Mike Tomlin, like Mike Vrabel, top 10 coach, top 5 coach, in my opinion, honestly, probably top 3 coach. But it's almost like the difference in the organization. I wrote about this in my next article that's coming up, is the Steelers organization are so stuck in their ways. Like they're so deep rooted into not giving up and focusing on what their original plan was. Like look at how hard they dug their heels in to keep Matt Canada around for as long as they did.
Yeah.
So for
sure.
Like look at the Eagles, like people are already talking about Nick Sirianni being gone. They were just in the fucking Super Bowl. They got rid of Andy Reid right away. Boom. Doug Peterson.
Pennsylvania's ruthless.
Boom. That's right. But it's the difference is that the Steelers aren't going to fire a winning coach unlike the Eagles would, because the Eagles want that Super Bowl. The Steelers, even though they've won the most Super Bowls, right? Yeah. They've won the most Super Bowls. They've kind of faded away from that. They're not focused on Super Bowls. They're focused on doing it the Pittsburgh way.
Right.
So would it be the worst thing in the world? Who knows? Maybe they need a spark. Like obviously, if Mason Rudolph is doing better than what their first rounder was doing, something's wrong. Is that Russell Wilson? Probably not, because it's just not the Pittsburgh way. But something needs to get fixed. So I think he comes back. I think Bill's gone. I think that they're just biting their teeth on it. They're kind of deciding like the Titans. They didn't know whether they're gonna just do this lengthy process to trade Bill or trade Mike Vrabel in the Titans scenario, or whether they're gonna like just let him go and let him choose his team. So I think that regardless, they're gonna come to a decision that he's gonna be gone. They're gonna bring someone else in, and I think it's the Chargers. I really do. I think that we're gonna have a division that if you're gonna beat Patrick Mahomes, it's gonna be Andy Reid, Sean Payton, Jim Harbaugh, and Bill Belichick in the same division in the AFC West, slugging it out.
You're a sicko. I am a
sicko.
All right, guys, let's move from that. Let's go ahead and get into some bets. All right, between bets, let's fire it up.
Between bets. Between bets.
We win, you win, we all win. We're going to talk some bets for the postseason. As we kind of alluded to earlier, this is one of our favorite times to put out a betting card because we have so many different interesting markets now on the table, especially over at our partner DraftKings, playoff leaders, playoff specials, props, futures, etc. You can kind of get them all right now. And Eric, I know you've already kind of made a little bit of a coin in the future market this season. I just had some nice futures cash. I had a Packers make the playoffs. I had a Texans to go over their win total, a Colts go over their win total. So it's been a good couple of weeks here. We have some bankroll to play with. I'm going to go ahead and hand things over to you. Where are you going here with your first playoff future bet?
Yeah, there's quite a lot to like in those playoff markets over on DraftKings. So first and foremost, like go over there and shop around those lines, because there's some interesting lines out there. It was kind of hard for me to select two. The two that I did select, I'll start with one that's a little bit chalkier. I've got CeeDee Lamb with the most playoff receiving yards. It's plus 175. For me, part of the equation here, I'm looking for someone who's going to play in the first weekend of the playoffs, right? Having the potential for all 4 games is a huge thing that I'm looking for. And obviously CeeDee Lamb is coming off of a pretty prolific receiving yard season. So, he is the odds on favorite at plus 175. So going a little bit chalky here, but I'll counterbalance it with my second wager, and that's Isiah Pacheco to be the leading rusher at plus 1,500.
Wow, okay.
Part of the same logic applies here, right? Looking for someone that, I think can make a deep playoff run that starts off by playing in super wild card weekend. But also Isiah Pacheco, like, he's got a 73% opportunity share in this backfield, right? So, like, every game that Kansas City is playing in, he's going to see the vast majority of the carries in that game. And there's a little bit of an arbitrage here. If you look at the odds to make the Super Bowl out of the AFC, Kansas City is 5-1, but Isiah Pacheco is 15-1 to lead the playoffs in rushing yards, right? So you're getting 3x odds to basically say, if Kansas City makes the Super Bowl, there's a very good chance that Isiah Pacheco is the leading rusher, having played in all 4 games at that point.
I think that's a great value bet when looking at this board, Eric. This was like a really weird market to look at. I thought the rushing yards in particular. Tony Pollard's at 7.5 after James
It
Cook.
was on its head, man.
It's 3 plus 360. McCaffrey plus 175. Devin Singletary is 8.5 to 1. That makes no sense. That makes that one just feels like a misprice, because do you really have the
Texans?
And Kyron Williams even 13 to 1, Swift 14 to 1. Like, I think Pacheco 15 to 1. Like, I might have to add that to my card, Eric. That's a really good one. I'm about it.
Money.
I'm about it, man.
Your money.
Yeah, good call there. Hoov, I'll throw it over to you for your first bet, man. What are you liking?
I'm gonna counter Eric right now, because that is just. Before I get into mine, I just gotta ask him, how far do you have the Cowboys going?
I've got them making it to the NFC Championship game.
Okay, and so can you answer this for me? Do you remember the playoffs last year for the fantasy football? Can you tell me what happened to Justin Jefferson?
I don't even know
Not
what
specifically.
He went.
Yeah,
he disappeared. Why? Because he was playing Jair Alexander. Is Jair Alexander still suspended for that mishap down in Carolina?
No, he's back. He's back.
Nope, he's back. So what's going to happen this week when the Dallas Cowboys play the Green Bay Packers? What's going to happen? You think that Jair Alexander's going to take it easy on him?
Jair doesn't travel, though. He does.
Jair plays his side. Like, that's not that tough of a matchup.
Yeah,
and CeeDee Lamb has torched way more difficult matchups than Jair Alexander this year.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Jair anymore, Hoov. I just don't think he's the same guy.
At a plus 7.5, you wait.
All right.
You wait.
Before we get to yours, let's pull up the odds here, just in general for the Super Bowl. And I think this can kind of tell us, like, 49ers now have just cruised to the absolute favorite. Are you guys putting anything on any futures here to win the Super Bowl outright, to make it to the Super Bowl? Anything?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's start there before we go to Hoov's prop. Hoov, what do you have? Are you just taking the 49ers to win it at 2.5? What is that, plus 220 to win it?
Absolutely. I know how my playoffs go. I can tell you, the 49ers are going to win it. I've been saying it since the start. We are the best team. You wait. We're about to find out. Fuck around and find out.
Eric, what about you? Do you have are you taking anything here? There's nothing, honestly, to me that stands out. I don't mind 9.5 to 1 for the Chiefs. I think that's potentially intriguing, but outside of that, I can't really see anyone at the 15 to 1 or better to even make a run here.
Yeah, this one's kind of tough, right? Like the playoff field is super wide open this year. I mean, if you want to talk about Buffalo sneaking in at plus 650, that's an okay price. But yeah, like for me, like in a year where there are so many different teams that you can legitimately make a case for not only making it to, but competing in a Super Bowl. Like I want teams that are like plus 850, plus 900 before I feel really good about jumping into a futures market, especially when there are so many exploitable lines specifically on the players, right? Like you can essentially place this bet and get more favorable odds with a leading passer line, with a leading rushing yard line. So
or one of those like
I would
750 accumulated yards or 500 accumulated yards. Like
like there are ways that essentially get you to the same outcome, but at a more juiced up price, right?
What about 35 to 1 for our guys in Cleveland? Any love for that, Eric? I know you were pretty high on the Browns. You cashed out already and outright on them to make it to the Super Bowl. Could you get behind 35 to 1? I mean, this defense, dude, is fucking nasty.
Yeah, this defense is absolutely Super Bowl caliber, right? Joe Flacco has been playing at a contending level for the last handful of weeks of the season. But also, like, he's still made some Joe Flacco-esque mistakes, right? Like, granted, the team has managed to overcome and win really all of those games, but like one of those mistakes in a critical time in a playoff game and your season's over, right? So, like, if you want to talk about like a quarter unit or a half unit, I can totally get behind it. It's always fun to have a long odd ticket out there for a good sweat, but I mean, realistically, like that. They're going to have to knock down some behemoths to come out of the AFC.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you had Isiah Pacheco earlier as your leading rusher. So you think the Chiefs are going to go to the Super Bowl?
I think that they have a better than 5 to 1 chance of going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm with Eric.
Because if you look at it, it's almost, I'm not going to knock on wood. There's a very strong chance Christian McCaffrey's representing the 49ers in the Super Bowl. So he's got a game behind
that. I mean, he's the favorite for a reason. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's the favorite for a reason. We got Gavin in the chat saying, I have money on the Ravens taking it. Scampers, any futures out on David Tepper starting the season as head coach because he's a butthole? Yeah, he needs someone like Mike Vrabel in there, just kind of tell him to fuck off. So sorry about it, Mr. Scampers. And Didi's saying they have to knock out some walls for sure. Yeah. All I'll say is, and I don't know how I would best attack this, but I think either the Packers or the Steelers are going to pull the upset this week. I just have a feeling we're going to see a little bit of chaos. The Packers have kind of been hot lately. The Packers have been hot. The defense playing a little better, other than other than Joe Barry. I mean, Jordan Love's been one of the best quarterbacks this past month, probably the best, honestly, when you think about it. And the Steelers are playing with a little bit of house money. They shouldn't be here to begin with, although they won't have TJ Watt. So.
Are we going to tell it what our bets are for the weekend per team?
If we have time, yeah. If we have time, we can get back to it. I want to get back to our props. Didi's saying the Packers. Eric, what do you think? Would you take? Do you think there's any chance for the Packers or the Steelers to pull a potential upset?
I mean, I probably wouldn't go there for either of them. I guess I would say the Packers more than the Steelers. Without your boy Watt, right? Like, such a huge loss for the core of that team.
Heartbreaking.
But I mean, honestly, I think we're going to see Dallas and Buffalo win pretty comfortably in the opening.
Plus weekend. 7.5. Plus 7.5 for Green Bay. Give me that. I'll take Green Bay.
All right.
I'll take Green Bay's plus 7.
All yours.
Even if Dallas wins. Plus 7.5. I like that.
Jerry's World.
Rams are getting an upset. I like that.
All right. We got Hooves or Mr. Scamper saying Rams gonna smash, even though 90+% of the money is on them. I'm scared for Detroit. I think the Rams are gonna win, but I don't want to put that out in the universe quite yet.
Yeah.
Hoov, let's get to your player props. What do you got for us first?
So like I said, I was going to rebuttal him. I just wanted to know what his mindset was on how far the Cowboys going to go. Because I got the 49ers going to the Super Bowl. So I'm going to take I'll do the second one first. So pull that one up. I'm going to do most receiving yards plus 700, Brandon Aiyuk. All right. I think it's the second prop on DraftKings right now, which honestly, it makes the most sense. Most people are going to think that Deebo Samuel is going to chip into it. But, you got to follow the money. You got to follow the money line. If they're saying Brandon Aiyuk is going to get the biggest feature in the offense, got to write it out. Go with the money. So plus 700, you can get some good money on that. You don't have to put big money, $50 or so on it. Put $20 down on Brandon Aiyuk plus 700.
Those are some big units, bud.
Oh, shut your mouth. Oh, $20. That's an work.
Would you not rather take Deebo at 20-1?
It depends on the matchups. Like, there's a lot of matchups that I would say yes, but it's almost like kind of like the Eagles. Like you can bank on them riding out AJ Brown, but there's going to be some good games that Devontae Smith is like the prime guy, and Brandon Aiyuk, he's been showing that he's like that wide receiver one just as well as Deebo. So I wouldn't be surprised if Brandon Aiyuk, he's looking for that contract. So maybe he goes out there, he tries to earn a Super Bowl MVP by having the most receiving yards in the playoffs.
Eric, how do you feel about the 49ers options here? Would you invest at all at 20-1 for Deebo, a 7-1 for Brandon Aiyuk? Kind of right in that range with Aiyuk. We got Rashee Rice actually 7.5-1, the fifth highest favorite, and then Amon-Ra and Tyreek both at 6.5-1.
Yeah, look, I completely agree with Hoov that San Francisco will be representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. The things that make it tricky there are they don't have that extra game, right? They have the luxury of the bye, which by and large helps ensure their chances of making it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
but also the offense isn't quite as concentrated as you see with some of the other teams in there. So, of the two, I would probably lean towards Deebo, just because statistically, like they're neck and neck in target share. Brandon Aiyuk does lead the team in target share around 25%, whereas Deebo is closer to 22%. But that difference in price is really what catches my attention. But candidly, like I think both of these are perfectly playable bets, right? Like 7-1 for a guy that you're going to get 3 games out of, that theoretically San Francisco is very likely to be in matchups where they're going to need to score. Like I like this passing attack in general. So I think either of these are fine options, but usually as a tiebreaker, when things are close, I'll go with the longer odds.
Seth, what's the line at Puka?
Let me pull it up. Puka, 30-1.
Okay. Eric, let's make a bet, a little fun bet. We don't have to put money on it, whatever. We can just do it for fun. I will bet that Puka gets more receiving yards. Or, honestly, I'd even take Nico Collins.
Over who? CeeDee?
Over CeeDee.
Oh, you're on, dude.
Oh.
Eric probably hopes there's money on
Why
it.
not? Why not the Texans? Ask yourself that. Why not the Texans?
I mean, you're not going to find me making an argument against the Texans, right? Like that's very much so where my biases lie. But
if they get knocked out, they could get knocked out this week. The Cowboys could easily get knocked out this week by the Packers.
Sure.
So I want to go ahead.
And then next week, easily they could get knocked out, by the Rams, something like that. The Rams match up, with secondary. So I'll take like Puka going against the Detroit Lions secondary. The Lions cornerbacks aren't that good. They're getting exposed the deeper into the season that you get. So I can see Puka just really exposing them. Or even Nico Collins. Look at if you see them beat the Browns. Let's say the Texans beat the Browns. Then they play the Ravens coming off a bye.
Yeah, I can't do that.
And we see the history with the Ravens choking against the 1 seed. And CJ Stroud has shown that he's phenomenal. If the Bengals did it just a few seasons ago Why not the Texans?
You're not off
Why not?
base. You're not. No. You're, okay. You're not off base at all, Hoov. I do want to steer this conversation back to the 49ers, though, before we get away from it. For my first prop of the night, it's Brock Purdy, most playoff passing yards, plus 550. Right now in this market, he comes in at 4th right here, tied with Pat Mahomes at 5.5 to 1. Josh Allen 5 to 1. Dak Prescott plus 360 is what you're looking at, and then we have some longer shots down the board. I just think Brock Purdy here, like you guys said, I think he's going to be the one who's representing the NFC in the Super Bowl here. And like when they're minus money to make it there, it makes me feel even more confident in it. Brock Purdy's averaged 251 passing yards per game this season. And very favorable matchups here, at least for the second round. It's either going to be the Packers, the Rams, the Bucks, or the Eagles. Those are all subpar secondaries. I think he can exploit them. Same with the second round matchup, the conference championship, if they were to make it there, Cowboys or Lions. Also been known to get burned by some wide receivers. So I like that a lot. And like, let's just look at what Brock Purdy did last season, boys, in these playoff games. Averaged 273 passing yards per game, no turnovers in his 2 healthy starts. And the team and the offense are just better now. Number 2 in total yards, number 4 in passing yards. I like Brock Purdy. Like, this is my favorite bet. 5.5 to 1, most playoff passing yards. I'm laying a unit down on it. Last year I was on Christian McCaffrey about this price for the rushing yards. I think it's Purdy this year for the passing yards. Eric, any digression from you on this?
No, none. I think we kind of made the case with all of us liking San Francisco to make their way to the Super Bowl. So getting 3 games in is key. And kind of like as I was waffling over which 49er receiver to place a receiving line on, I think that's just, a further tip of the cap to Brock Purdy, right? He's the one that has these receivers at his disposal, right? So, I think he's got statistically the best odds to play at least 3 games. And, his arsenal of weapons is deep, right? Christian McCaffrey, kind of good at catching the ball out of the backfield. George Kittle, no slouch himself, right? So, I would love getting in there at, what is it, 550? I could totally take that price.
I think the only way I think you get beat, Hoov, is if it's Pat Mahomes or like a Joe Flacco or Josh Allen who are making it out of, playing through all 3 rounds here on the AFC side to make it to the Super Bowl. I think that's the only way you get beat here, pretty much, if you take this.
Okay. I hate that I'm the only one that's going against Brock Purdy for this, but hear me out. All right. We've seen it. Kyle Shanahan, every time he's in the playoffs, what does he do? Even since
I think it's different now, dude. It's different now. They're not that team anymore, bro. They're not. I know he's gonna ride the hell out of McCaffrey, but they're not that team, bro. Like, they aren't. They're top.
I watch this team. I'll tell you. Watch.
They're
guarantee
top
you,
4 in passing yards per game, bro. 3rd in points scored. Like, this is a lethal. They're not winning because of their defense anymore.
This is different. This is playoff football. He's
gonna sling the fucking pill, Hoov. I believe
he will, but not the same. Not like my bet. My bet is Josh Allen. I don't know what the bet is. I got.
He's
Josh
5
Allen
to 1. He's 5 to 1.
It. He's gonna be slinging it, trying to get to the Super Bowl. This is the year. He sees a weakened Chiefs team. He's gonna come out there balling in the playoffs. You watch. Everyone's talking about him and Diggs. So can I do my next bet since we're transitioning into it?
Yeah.
All right, second one. Most receiving touchdowns at plus 700, Stefon Diggs. All right. So why not? Like I said, they're going to be chasing something.
Been cheeks. He's been cheeks.
But playoff Stefon Diggs is different. All right. Maybe Stefon Diggs, he sees that opportunity. He sees a weakened Ravens team. Who knows? Maybe the Texans do knock off the 1 seed Ravens. There's an opportunity there. They win this week. They beat up on a weakened Steelers team. Next week, upsets happen. And all of a sudden, they're staring at an AFC championship. And Stefon Diggs, we all know Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis could be a great asset during the playoffs, get a lot of yards. But Stefon Diggs is going to be the guy that Josh Allen banks on. Like, if we're going to win this thing, we're going to do it this way. So I would not be surprised if Stefon Diggs walks out of here. Most receiving touchdowns, even if they don't win the Super Bowl, because the 49ers defense is just that much better. I could see Stefon Diggs just going on this insane run for the playoffs because they're chasing something different.
Eric,
I'll put my money there.
Eric, your thoughts?
I'm not mad at it. I do think that we see Stefon
mad.
I mean, I think we
earlier.
see him perform in a fashion that's more aligned with what we've seen out of his career in Buffalo over the course of this postseason, right?
Okay.
He's got the benefit of playing in the first weekend, right? So you can accumulate some additional stats there. And I mean, he's tied for 8th in the league in terms of receiving touchdowns, right? So like it's not like we're plucking him out of obscurity after this first matchup against your Steelers. Kind of like I was saying with regard to all the AFC points, like whoever's coming out of the AFC is going to be doing so on the back of their offense, right? Like there's going to be some points put up in the divisional and in the conference rounds in that side of the bracket. So if you like Buffalo to make the run, like, Stefon Diggs would easily be the favorite amongst his teammates. And, at that point, like getting him at this price, I think you can make a pretty defendable case for it.
All right. Fair enough. We got Toronto
And
Dave in the chat.
How great that would be? You know how great that would be? All those people that talk all that shit about Josh Allen leading the league in picks.
It would be crazy. It's quite the turnaround.
He's quite there, the turnaround. And the Ravens aren't, Dolphins aren't, Chiefs aren't. Josh Allen's the guy that has to try to dethrone the 49ers. Can Josh Allen do what Patrick Mahomes did? Maybe I'm just stirring the pot a little bit. Maybe, I don't know.
You are stirring the pot, my friend. You are. You like to stir the pot. We got Dave saying #Bills Mafia. Good to see you tonight, buddy. Thanks for tuning in with us. I'm with Didi. It's not bad, Hoov, but just know. Yeah, just know for me. I'll transition us out of here with my last playoff special I'm going to be placing here heading into the weekend. Jalen Hurts over 1.5 playoff rushing touchdowns plus 125. I'm going a unit on this. As bad as the Eagles have played, and as much as I've been on this Baker Mayfield fanboy hype train all season long, he's kind of limping around right now. Like they just scored 9 points against the Panthers. Wasn't the best performance. And I think the Eagles are at least going to find their way to 2 games played here in the postseason. Hurts has 15 regular season rushing touchdowns this season, 4 games with multiple touchdowns too. So if they do get bounced in week 1 of the postseason, there's still like a 24% chance he hits this no matter what. 5 rushing touchdowns in 3 postseason games last season. So he can do this. He had 3 touchdowns on the ground in the Super Bowl. And penalties are what lead to this tush push, I feel like, and no one really talks to that about that. Tampa Bay 13th most penalties this season. Cowboys, who they could see in the second round, second most. 49ers 11th most. Lions 16th most. So I don't know. This one, like when I was searching around for like a guaranteed lock it, smash it, get it under, this is what I wanted. Jalen Hurts over 1.5 playoff rushing touchdowns. Any digression from the board here?
I don't know. This offense looks terrible. They do. They just look weak. We beat the fucking soul out of them. They haven't looked the same since they played the 49ers. We pushed that security guard, and since then,
Big Dom,
We pushed Big Dom, and they haven't been the same since. All right, so
can they turn it on enough, Eric? You think to get two rushing touchdowns?
Don't make me bet on Baker Mayfield, man.
You think they can do it, Eric?
Yeah, I think they can. Right? I mean, like this is very much so a cornerstone of their offense. By hook or by crook, it seems like they're always getting that penalty at the 1 yard line or getting someone tackled at the 1.5, right? Mm-hmm. So like if you're talking about 2 games, potentially 2+ games, right? Like, their path out of this side of the bracket isn't the craziest thing in the world, especially, I mean, if we're calling for Packers upsets, if we're calling for Rams upsets, that means that if the Eagles win this week, they're gonna avoid the 49ers in the second round, right? So like there's a potential that they're looking at 3 games playing this weekend.
And we only we only need 2.
there are plenty of games this year where he's getting 2 tush-push touchdowns, right? So
4 of
like,
them, 23%, baby.
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility at all. I mean, if I'm being candid, like I don't love the price, like plus 125. I would think this would be like a 175 plus
Okay.
200 kind of bet, but
Yeah.
in terms of like the likelihood of it happening, I think it's got a pretty good shot.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out DraftKings for everything they're doing right now, putting out some cool different markets for NFL betting. We really appreciate them and everything they're doing here this season. Guys, great discussion here. If you guys have any bets in the chat that you want to run by us or anything you're down on or considering getting down on, let us know and we will gladly answer those questions for you. But in the meantime, we're going to go translate into our good news section of the week. All right. So good news. We are bringing some feel-good headlines to you from the pop culture, the sports world, and the news world. Eric, I think you have the most serious and, like super good news headline of the week. So let's throw it to you first, my friend.
Oh man, the pressure's on. So starting in the year 2024, it is no longer required to have a prescription in order to get birth control in the state of New Jersey. So basically, I mean, it's kind of like it's kind of a black and white thing for me. Anything that gives people autonomy over their bodies, that gives women autonomy over their reproductive rights, is something that's always going to be good news for me. So shout out New Jersey. It's a scary time to be a person and certainly a woman in this country. So any place that is going to move the needle in the right direction, even if it's an incremental amount, is a place that is going to get a shout out from me.
And Jersey doesn't get enough fucking shout outs, my friend. So thank you for bringing this to our attention. Not only birth control coming in, medical marijuana has also kind of just recently been recreationally legalized there. So shout out Jersey.
Day, New Jersey. Let's
go. Shout out shout out New Jersey from Dave here in the chat. Let's go, baby. Hoov, what is your good news headline of the week, my friend?
My good news is for tonight after this is done at 9 o'clock, which means it probably should be airing now. Yeah, it's 9:30 my time. Echo is now available on Disney Plus. I'm a big Marvel fan, and so this is the next part of the series. I'm waiting for Secret Wars, but this is kind of getting to the home of New York. You're gonna get those more grounded superheroes like Daredevil, like Spider-Man. It's more going down to the streets, and Echo is a part of the series that came from the Hawkeye series, and you have Vincent D'Onofrio coming back from his Netflix role playing Kingpin. So it's I'm really excited. You get all 9 episodes in one night. You don't have to wait week to week. You get all of them in one night. So
Disney usually doesn't do that either. They usually make you wait here and there for them. So
I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they came up with. I got plenty of Marvel stuff behind me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Eric, are you up to date on the MCU? Because a couple of years ago during COVID, I took some time and I caught back up to I think Infinity War, and I haven't really kept up with it since then. I've watched some here and there. Are you caught up?
No, and it really pisses me off because I was totally into the comic books as a kid. I caught some of like the very early MCU movies before it like really became its own universe.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just fell behind and never really was able to catch up. So like, I want to like it and I want to be into it, but I feel like I'm so far behind that I can never actually get caught up to it. So someday I'll get laid off or get COVID again and have to isolate for a bunch of time and try my best. But yeah, I'm so far behind on all of it and I don't want to be.
The good news is your kids are getting of that age soon, so maybe they'll put some of their
I thought
stuff.
We had a window. They've on Disney Plus, they've got these I Am Groot shorts. Yeah, they're like 7 minutes long. My kids go bananas for them, and I was like, "This is my chance." I tried to weave in some Guardians of the Galaxy. They weren't having it. They were like, "What is this?" Like, oh.
Guards the gal, maybe start him out like Spider-Man or something. Like, I think you got to work your way up. Maybe Iron Man. Iron Man's pretty, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. They were
But-
into Groot, though. I was like, all right, I'll meet them where they are.
Yeah.
We'll go right down this Groot path. They weren't having it. But yeah, once they get into it, I'll have plenty of time to catch up.
We've talked about in the show that in the past my love of popcorn and how I'll go to the theater and just bring it home. But I'm also the same guy that, because I love popcorn so much, I'm also the same nerd that will go and see superhero movies the night of. Like, I will go see everything. I'll go see DC. I'll go see a Marvel. I saw Blue Beetle opening night. I actually haven't seen the Marvels yet, which is really off-brand for me. But I'm always the guy. I'm always the guy that's there opening night. And they always premiere it for Friday, but it's out Thursdays actually most of the time at the theaters. So me and the rest of the nerds were there on Thursdays, and yeah, I'm excited. I'll be binging this series for sure. My boss is gonna kill me because I'm gonna be stumbling into work tomorrow, like all groggy and tired. So it'll be fun.
DD saying shame Seth, LOL, love comics and omnis. What are omnis? Hoov, can you catch me on that slang?
I'm not the guy to ask.
Okay, well, okay.
I just show up to watch the movies, man.
All right, DD says she's a big nerd with you as well.
I also watch more YouTube videos on Marvel stuff and WWE, like what's gonna happen next type storylines on that kind of stuff than I do fantasy football. So
you're part of the algorithm, baby. Let's go.
I am part of the algorithm.
All right, I will round us out with my good news headline of the week, and it is Jameis Winston continues to be an absolute national treasure. I personally want more Jameis Winston in my life. I don't know if that's a podcast when he's done playing or if that's a show now. Like, I just want more of this guy in my life. I absolutely love what he brings to the table. So basically, to catch you guys up on what happened here over the weekend, he was joined by his teammates in vetoing Dennis Allen's decision to take victory formation and go down for a knee after Tyrann Mathieu almost ran back a pick six. They had the ball in the one, little time left. They were up a shit ton. And to kind of make it a little bit worse for Arthur Smith, rub a little more salt in that fucking wound. Jameis and the Saints offense talked about it. They wanted to get Jamal Williams a touchdown. He had like 16 last year, hadn't had any this season. So I'm gonna play this for you guys. We can react as it's happening. And Jameis Winston
to DA because the play was victory, but I also explained to DA that it was a team decision, and I think when you have a team morale, and I asked the guys, I say, guys, like, what do you want to do? We know how much Jamal means to this team, and I understood from DA's perspective, so I give him that. But DA didn't condone that at all. He didn't. However, we decided as a team to do it, and man, we got an interception to the 1 yard line. So if we would have scored, it still would have been disrespectful, right? So
Tyrann wasn't in on it, was he?
I love the
but it was an offensive team discussion. However, when you return the ball to the 1 yard line, and you have that opportunity. We just had that opportunity, and we decided.
Do you think it's the kind of thing though that is forgotten fairly quickly, or you know what I mean?
I think it should be forgotten, especially when the score is already 41-17. So I don't know how much worse it can get. But I got a ton of respect for Arthur Smith and the coach that he is. I think they do some incredible things. I didn't want to disrespect him. That was not my intention. My intention was to lead the team that I've been with the entire year, and we made a collective decision that we wanted to get one of our guys who they fight with blood, sweat, and tears every game in the end zone. And I'm going to feel good about that.
I love it, man. I love Jameis Winston. What's your guys' initial reaction to hearing that?
I'll let you go ahead. I got a few things to say.
I mean, I'm completely here for it, right? Like the interview was amazing because like he's talking about how he's got nothing but respect for Arthur Smith and the Falcons, but also we were already beating that ass. So like, what does 7 more points matter? I think the point that he was trying to get at was like, it was less about the Falcons and more about Jamal Williams, who is like universally regarded as a phenomenal teammate and someone that people just like love having in the locker room. So like, cool story that like everyone got up and they're like, hey, I know coach said do this, but like, Jamal's coming in. He was a big free agent signer or free agent acquisition. I think he broke the Lions single season touchdown record the year before. And
Very
to follow it up with a 0 touchdown season, like wanted to show their boy a little bit of love. But also Jimmy Graham, like he came out, I think he tweeted this. He was telling people to get off of Jameis Winston's back. Loves the city, best teammate he's ever had.
Baby. Oh
yeah, like he embodies everything that we can ask for in a leader. We're in a rare situation. We'll take responsibility.
Yeah.
Nobody thought it would get blown out of proportion. Also, fuck the Falcons. Right? Like there's still those division hatreds going through. So, however much they want to spin it, like clearly, it being an opportunity to twist a knife in the Falcons was not something that wasn't part of the equation, right?
It's hilarious too because like Taysom Hill, I don't think he wanted to be a part of it. I think his vote was no. And who would your vote have been no with Taysom Hill the way you're looking over there too? Are you siding here with Dennis Allen's groupies?
No, I'm not. I think that everyone's blowing it out of proportion, and like people like Shannon Sharp going out and saying that Jameis Winston should get cut for that. No, that's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. I guarantee you that like he also knows this. He knows this as someone that's been in the locker room. I know this. I've been in a locker room. I know about team dynamic. And if Dennis Allen is supposed to be back next year, then he's fine. He's fine with his teammates. He's not undermining. They're not undermining him. I guarantee you that what happened is that there's an unwritten rule, and everyone knows this. It's like in the NBA, you're not supposed to like go up and shoot layups,
sure.
When it's in the final seconds because it's just out of pocket, And there's a rule. But Jameis, like Jamal Williams, he came to New Orleans this offseason after a phenomenal season in Detroit. The season was a very big disappointment for New Orleans, missing the playoffs and everything. And so he came there for a reason.
Talk about wasted money too.
And wasted money. Yeah, wasted opportunity. And so the fact that he could have a win to, finish out the year, that's about the team. So I'm all for that. That's ridiculous that people are going to call for his job and say that there's no team dynamic. I guarantee what happened is Dennis Allen called victory formation. Jameis said, "Coach, can we do this?" He said, "If you do it, I'm not signing off on it." He's like, "All right, bet, Coach." And then they went out and did it. And like that's honestly like okay, the best way. I know I'm the not great example out there, but it's like you being 15 and having your permit and being a good enough driver, but you haven't passed the test yet, and your mom's like, "You can take the car out, but if you get pulled over, I ain't saying I let you take it." It's like that. And it's a dynamic. It's a trust, And like,
I did that before I had a permit. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. So, it's just a trust thing, like, okay, you can have people over, but
without breaking the law.
Like I'm out of town. You can have people over, but if you guys get caught doing something, I ain't going to say I let you over type vibe, and like, that's just a good chemistry, like we're past that point in the NFL where it's like, dad says this, like how Shannon was saying about how his coach was like, you don't get to undermine your coach. These are paid professionals. They're not going to like, this is where it's different than college, like they're not just going to listen to someone because it's their coach. Like they're also paid to do that role too. It's different. You can't have certain responsibilities over some other people. Like Arthur Smith can be mad all he wants. He knew he was
mad too. How about that?
He knew that if he lost, you heard the reports before the game. It wasn't like all of a sudden that it just came out of nowhere after the game, after they said that they're going to commit to him. There was reports before that game that if they didn't win, Arthur was done. And he knew that. He was letting it out on someone else, and it's not good to put someone else's evil on another person.
Yeah.
So that's out of pocket on Arthur Smith. Good riddance. Absolutely. Dennis Allen, you made a fan out of me, man. You made a fan out of me. I like your coaching style, man. I see through that shit.
Fuck Dennis Allen. He needs to be out of the job too. No offense, but I don't know.
Like the vibe. That's a good way to build your team.
Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. It was great to talk some NFL betting, some NFL head coaching changes, and some good news headlines of the week as well. Thank you to everyone in the chat, Dee, Toronto Dave, Mr. Scampers, Albert, everyone who was riding with us tonight. We appreciate you guys so much. If you can continue to support us here at IBT, the easiest way, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and then go check out the website, inbetweenmedia.com. We got a ton of content for you over there. NFL, PGA, NASCAR is on the rise in entertainment. So a lot of great stuff for you to check out there in written form as well. You can find all of us at our socials here on the screen. I'm at @between_SethFF. Eric is at FantasyNav. Hoov is at HoovTube. You can find In Between Media at IBT_media as well. Thank you guys so much. We'll be back a week from today. I don't know what we'll talk about yet, but we'll find something to talk about. It'll be fun as fuck. So until then, you know what to do, y'all. Keep it in between. Thank y'all.